I have to crawl. Our adventure started in Simonstown, South Africa, where we stayed at St. at Boulders, a luxurious boutique villa located right above the famous Boulders Penguin colony. Luckily for us, a private set of stairs on the edge of the property took us down to a doorway that gave us direct access to Willis Walk, a beautiful boardwalk that runs between the Boulders Visitor Centre and Boulders Beach. Penguins are often seen in the thickets alongside the walkway where they breed, but we chose to spend most of our time on the beach itself. So there are basically two areas where you can view the penguins here at Boulders. There's the Boulders Visitor Centre, just a little bit up the path, but there you've got to stick to some wooden walkways and a viewing deck, which makes it a little bit restricted for me. There are, however, loads of penguins there. I prefer to come here to Boulders Beach itself. Now, as you can see behind me, there aren't any penguins right here, but if you climb over those rocks at the back or sometimes crawl underneath, you get to that area where they take all those beautiful Instagram photographs of the penguins between the boulders. Obviously, you've got to keep an eye on the tide, because the lower the tide, the easier it is to get to them, but I always prefer to get here very early in the morning before the big crowds arrive. Do keep an eye on the opening times, because that changes from season to season, and if you get it wrong, you might be waiting at the gate for an hour. If you're a South African resident or a SADC member, remember to bring proof of ID as well, because then you get a big discount. And remember, they don't take cash, you have to bring your credit card. Let's go find some penguins. Before we found our first penguins, we saw something else. There's one right up there. Oh, and another one down here.
Everywhere.
Penguins aren't the only creatures around here on Boulders Beach. Look who I've got here in the tree. Some dussies. Hey buddies. Yum 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 yum. He's super relaxed. That's awesome. Looks like the tide is low enough to go through underneath the rocks. I have to crawl. Hey guys. There we go. Oh wow, look. Yay! So this is the bit where it gets a little bit tricky. It might look like you've got good footholds, but I tell you, the sand on top of the slippery rocks, it's deadly, so just be very careful. So this is where high tide makes it a little bit tricky, because you can't necessarily always walk where you would have been able to had it been completely low. But it looks like we're getting over successfully. There we go. This is the area that I love the most. It's not quite private, because obviously anybody that's brave enough to go over those rocks can get here. But if you look this way, this is where you can spend some really special time with the penguins. So there's a small group of penguins swimming right here, and I'm gonna brave the icy water, try and swim out with them and give you a closer look. Look, here they are. So I'm just going to approach very, very slowly, let them get used to me, and then hopefully they'll swim right up to me. So these little guys are called African penguins, and they're the only penguin that occurs off the coast of Africa. They're also endemic to this region. You find them off the coast of Namibia and then these parts of the Western Cape. And this colony here at Boulders is up to 3,000 individuals strong. I also read last night that they can hold their breath for about 4.5 minutes, and that allows them to dive down to 100 meters deep in search of small fish like sardines and pilchards. They used to be called the jackass penguin because of the sound that they make that sounds like a braying donkey.
Another interesting fact about African penguins is the fact that it's virtually impossible to differentiate between males and females. They look identical. It is, however, possible to identify specific individuals by looking at their chests, because each penguin has a unique set of spots on it, much like we all have unique fingerprints. The Boulders penguins are extremely relaxed and are used to being photographed, but always respect their personal space. Don't touch them or chase them, and never move beyond the beach into their sensitive breeding areas. Like I said before, the later it gets in the morning, the more crowded the beach becomes. So if you want a slightly more exclusive experience with the penguins, try to enter Boulders Beach as soon as the gates open. A massive thank you to all of my patrons for making this video possible. If you'd like to support the channel, follow the link to my Patreon page at the top of the video description. Patrons get early access to my videos, behind the scenes footage, credit in the videos, and much more.
If you enjoyed this video, guys, please like and subscribe and leave a comment down below.
Penguin just knocked my GoPro over. Now, it's important to keep an eye on the tide as well, because the lower the tide, the easier it is to get to those penguins. And just be very careful when you climb over those rocks, because they can be very, very slippery. Now, personally, I like coming here very early in the morning.
Hey buddy, how you doing? Can you tell me where Tsinswalo at Boulders is?
So these little guys behind me are called African penguins, and they're the only penguin that occur off the coast.
Occur.
Only penguin that occur.
Only penguins that occur.
Only penguins that occur. I love penguins. I love penguins.